Hello, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to give you a game plan that you can use against taller basketball teams if you have a shorter basketball team. Okay, so the day of recording this is February 5th, 2019. I know this video is being released a few days from now, but I'd like to say happy birthday to my grandma. She is 98 years old today. And funny story, actually, interesting, very good story is she was not supposed to live past one day. One day. She has now lived 35,770 days. That's amazing. Congrats, Grandma. Anyways, today's video is about running a game plan against the taller basketball team, which is kind of funny because my grandmother was shorter. So, yeah, this has no relationship between the two stories. But anyways, so if you're new to this channel, on this channel I show you basketball plays, drills, and skills. So if you like that stuff, hit that like button and subscribe. Today, however, I will be giving you a game plan that you can use against the taller basketball team. Now, first, I would like to give my recommendations. I would not just go out and change my whole offensive strategy if I was going up against a taller team. You don't want to be like, hey, 30 seconds before the game, here is a new set of plays for you guys to learn. That's not exactly a great idea. So what I always like to do is always incorporate a few plays every season if we have to get stuck against a taller team. So let's get down to the clipboard. What I'm going to give you today is 2 offensive plays that you can use, as well as some strategies defensively, as well as offensively to break a press and to run a press against them. So let's get down to the clipboard and let's check these out. Yes, that's my note right there for how many days that she's been around, and that's amazing because she was only supposed to be around not even one day. So that is absolutely amazing, and just keep that in mind. If you are having a really bad day, well, just imagine that you're here living with us. Anyways, so, and she's still alive, thank God. Anyways, so let's get down to the play itself. So in this first play, we're going to run a horns offense. Now, in this horns offense, what we're going to try and do is get these tall defenders outside of the key. Now, if we are going up against a man-to-man defense, this is going to work absolutely perfectly and flawlessly. So what we are going to do is have player 5. He is going to go and screen for player 4. Player 4 is going to use that screen, and he's going to come across the high post or across the key. Player 1 could pass to him. He could drive towards the net. If he's open, he could go in for the layup. But what we're going to do now is have player 4. He is going to cut towards the rim and then set a back screen on player 2. Let's say he wasn't open for that drive, so player 4 is again playing defense on him. We're going to have player 5, blue, then run out of the key, and he is going to go to the three-point line. What's going to happen now is player 2 is going to use that screen. He's going to be cutting down towards the rim. If he's open, hit him up for a layup. If he is not, player 4 needs to then clear out to this side of the key or of the court. Next, we're going to have player 2 then back screen player 3. Now look what we have. We have player 3 cutting towards the rim. We don't exactly have a lot of post players who are guarding him now because they are out along the perimeter, and also if they were to kind of sneak down and play help defense against that back screen, we now have 2 players who might be good shooters who could be open for 3-point shots or possibly mid-range shots if they're quick enough shooters. And now we have many different options. We have an option for a layup if these guys are playing defense out of the key. If they're in the key playing help defense, we have 2 mid-range or 3-point shot options. So this is a great play to play against the taller team because it pulls the tall players out of the key. Now in this next play, we're doing a high 1-4. Now this is a play that I'm going to show you that's usually a low 1-4 offense, but we're trying to drag these taller defenders out of the key. So how we are going to do that is have player 4 and 5 both set screens for player 1. This is a sandwich screen. We used to call this go green. We would then have players 2 and 3 pop down to these low corners, and player 1 is going to drive either left or right. What we're hoping for here is either a switch or a fight through, and for help defense to come in. Because if there's no help defense, player 1, if he's quick enough, can get right to the rim. And now we're bringing in defenders to play help defense, where we now have possible backdoor cuts. We might have players open at the 3 or mid-range areas. And we could even have player 5 who's sneaking out to the free throw line extended on that side, player 4 on this side, where they might be open again if they're really collapsing on the defense onto player 1. Now this works against the 2-3 zone as well, and I'll show you that too. So against the 2-3 zone, what you're going to be seeing is the zone playing a much higher area because, of course, everyone is away from the baseline, away from the basket. We're going to have player 5 and 4 setting screens up top, and that's going to bring player 5, and that's going to isolate player 5 in the key for player 1 to go one-on-one against him. And because, obviously, player 1 is a much faster player, player 3 is going to be popping down to then play help defense and to stop the basket or stop the layup. Because, of course, in a 2-3 zone, they don't want anything to happen inside of the key. Now, the benefit here is now player 3 could be open in the three-point line, the mid-range area. He could also be cutting back door, same as player 2, depending on where player 4 red is looking. So again, same play, same outcome, and of course, many different options to be ran against him. Now, against a taller team, we're going to say that the red team is the taller team here. Now, what we're going to have is most likely player 3 is going to be inbounding. We're probably going to have these players like this. This is kind of the standard setup for an inbounds for a press break. Now, what we're going to have is player 1 up front, and we're going to have player 2 up front as well. Because if they're a taller team, there's a much higher likelihood that they're not going to be as agile when dribbling the basketball. Next, we're going to stick player 5. He is going to be at the free throw line, and we're going to have player 3 and 4 at the half court line. Now, this is a 2-2-1 press, and what we're going to do here is we're going to be stopping everything coming up the middle, and we don't want player 4 and 3 to go past half court. The reason is when player 1 or 2, whoever gets that ball, we're going to be pressuring them to go towards the sidelines. These guys are protecting the middle here so that nothing goes up the middle. We want everything to go up outside of the volleyball court that's usually painted on the basketball court. The reason is because now we can trap the opponent team in these corners. Now, once we get that ball up to this point, and let's say they pass over to player 5, we want player 3 to not go past half or 3/4 of the court. So he's going to be standing here. Player 1 is going to go up and trap, and player 2 again is not going to be going past half. The reason, or 3/4 of the way, is because we don't need to have that many players on that side of the court. Now player 5 is going to sneak down. Once that ball gets past half court, it's going to look like a 2-3 zone. We're going to have these two players guarding player 5. 2, 3, and 5 are guarding those zones there. And, of course, there is nothing going over to here. We can't have that. If that happens, player 3 or 5 need to go and pick that off. Now, against a taller team, a lot of taller teams will, if they are going to press, what they're going to do is press with a 1-3-1. The reason is because they're going to be a bit slower, so they're going to be running most of their team on their side of half, and they're only going to be having one player pressing. Now, the idea behind this now is, of course, player 1 is going to try and force him one way or the other. If player 1 starts to bring the ball to that side, he's going to then reverse it quickly because now the defense is onto this side of the court. He's going to reverse it quickly. He is then going to attack on this side. That's then going to draw the defense back over, and we're going to be having player 4 cut towards that side of the key. That side of the court. Now what's going to happen is player 2 can then cut or drive towards that opening, and he can pass to player 4 or he can lob it over, one or the other. But player 4 will be open. Now you can set up your offense, or you can go 2-on-1 if that's even possible, depending on how fast you ran that reversal on this side of the court. Now I hope that this game plan helps your team. If it does, let us know in the comments below, and I will see you guys again tomorrow for another daily basketball video. Happy birthday, Grandma.